adventure on Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I am so excited. It's April. I can't believe it's April, because that means there's time to talk about some new stuff, and there's going to be a lot of food that people are going to be eating through the spring and the summer that maybe are good, maybe is not good. But what we need to talk about is what are fat-burning foods and what we should pay attention to. And we have the perfect expert for that on the show right now. You know her, you've seen her on the show before. She's always so helpful. And she's got, like I said, one of the best shows on the station. So let's welcome to the show, Sara Banta.
Hi, Dean. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to learn about fat-burning foods because, I got to keep that, that body for the summer.
Right. Well, it's really interesting because I'm a woman in my late 40s, and you go out to lunch with all the women and they get these little salads and they don't eat any of the protein on it. And then they've got 4 glasses of wine and they wonder why they're gaining weight. So we're going to get into what is a fat-burning food, what's a fat-storing food. But if you all missed our talk last month on diabetes, I talked about it all coming down to mitochondrial health. Our body is built up of cells, and in those cells are mitochondria, and in those mitochondria are ATP. And ATP is what translates into that feeling of energy, that brain energy, the physical energy. The fat burning will not be optimized regardless of how much exercise you eat or do or calories you eat. You have to optimize your mitochondrial health to increase ATP to burn fat. At the cellular level, mitochondria is the energy powerhouse of the cells, and they can be either coupled or uncoupled. Coupled mitochondria primarily burns fat to generate ATP, the body's true cellular energy source. Uncoupled mitochondria burn excess fat, generating additional heat in the process. So this surplus of heat boosts the thermic effect and the caloric burn. Calories aren't just calories. If you eat a gram of fat, you don't really burn much, maybe 5% of that just through digestion. But did you know when you eat protein, you burn up to 25% just in digestion? So you don't even have to count the 25% of the calories you just ate. That's why people don't get fat on protein. Okay, it's really difficult. So just a little tip there. But what are the different macros? We've got protein, fat, and carbohydrates, and we're going to look at all of them, the fat burning and fat storing of each of them. Protein, protein, protein. Protein's essential for a healthy metabolism. Like I mentioned, 25% of the calories get burned just through digestion and heat. I don't know if you ever have fasted and you feel a certain body temperature, and then all of a sudden you eat just meat or protein and you get this rush of heat that goes through your body. That's the thermic effect of protein. So protein can be a very important fat burning food, but there are some caveats. Protein powders undergo about 80% conversion into sugar, potentially leading to both fat and muscle gain. So you might be gaining muscle, but you're also gaining fat. Even though 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, it's different. So you don't get that thermic effect because it's pre-digested. So you've got to be careful with your protein powders. And the BCAAs, a lot of bodybuilders use those. Those are only 3 of the essential amino acids. The body requires all 20 amino acids to produce protein. So think about a bicycle and you say, well, I need 1 handlebar, two wheels, 1 seat, but you only have 1 handlebar, 1 seat, and 1 wheel. What happens to the bike? There's no bike, right? So all of that bike is wasted or gets stored as fat. So if you don't have the right amino acids in the right ratios, your body doesn't have anything it can do with those essential amino acids. So the BCAAs can actually cause fat storage. Whey, pea, and soy protein. These only have about 18% of their essential amino acids are making that protein, and the remaining 82% convert into sugar. They also can cause inflammation, increase estrogen levels, leaky gut, high histamine reactions, or allergies, depending on the different ones. So whey is dairy. A lot of people are allergic to dairy. You've got pea protein full of mold and histamines, and soy. Soy is horrible regardless of how you take it, whether it's protein powder or food. It is estrogenic. It's full of GMOs. It's going to cause leaky gut and so many other things. So those protein powders you want to stay away from. Now we're going to get into what you think is the fat burning food of chicken, turkey, and pork, right? The lean white meat. Well, these meats contain high levels of omega-6 linoleic acid inflammatory fats. We talked about these PUFAs in our last talk. These fats are extremely dangerous and inflammatory and can cause fat storing. They also have what are called amyloid proteins. Amyloid proteins are misfolded proteins that the body can't even break down to use to build tissues in the body. So they get stored in the brain, cause Alzheimer's in the gut. They trip up gut pathogens. They can cause arthritis, other issues throughout the body. And it's not the chicken's fault, you guys. It's the crowded environment that they've been raised in, and this is causing this amyloid buildup in the tissues. Then you add in the spike protein that we have all been exposed to. That spike protein is increasing that amyloid burden on our bodies. So we have to stay away from the chicken, turkey, and pork, and even the conventionally raised beef. I'm okay with grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Now you've got the farm-raised fish. Most of these are fed genetically modified corn and soy, and you're not what you eat. You are what you ate. If our fish ate soy and corn, then we sure ate that soy and corn. And they're full of omega-6 fatty acids, that linoleic acid. That's going to increase the fat storage and totally derail your mitochondrial health. So what are the fat-burning proteins? Well, I have a supplement called Perfect Aminos that is all 8 of the essential amino acids in the right ratios, and it has 99% absorption rate. So your body uses them without any of the calories, and a lot of women have a hard time eating enough protein. Even some men do. So this is a way to supplement and get in your essential amino acids for the muscles, for the hair, for all of the tissues and your energy. And it is the equivalent, one serving with 2 calories is the equivalent of 30 grams of whey protein. Am I saying that this is your only source of protein? Absolutely not. You got to eat real food. This is a supplement. But what is that real food that is the fat burning food? Wild animal protein. And this should be the basis of your diet. It may only offer about 32% of usable amino acids, but it provides the essential vitamin Bs, iron, magnesium, potassium, all of the other nutrients crucial for protein synthesis. And you get that thermic effect where 25% of the calories are just totally burned by eating the food. And it's also going to help you suppress your appetite. You tell me, have you ever binged on a bison ribeye steak or a burger, right? No one does that. Or even a beef ribeye steak. No one's going to sit down and have 4 ribeyes. That just doesn't happen because your brain says, okay, I'm full. I've had enough. I've gotten my nutrients. Okay, so there's protein. Fats. Now, everyone thinks high-fat ketogenic diet is really good. Well, absolutely not, actually. For most people, because of the bombardment of toxins, radiation, spike protein, our livers are backed up and our livers cannot metabolize fat very well. So this is causing us to become overfatted, and our body doesn't know what to do with these fats. It doesn't know how to burn them for energy. And you have the worst of the worst, which we've talked about, the polyunsaturated fats, which are in processed foods, imitation butters, like I mentioned, the fried foods, the chicken, the nuts and the seeds that we think are so healthy, but the seed oils, that canola, grapeseed, corn, cottonseed, soybean, peanut oils, all of those oils are the worst offenders. They're going to cause fat gain at an accelerated rate. So if you're trying to watch your waistline, these are the foods that have to be done with today. You've got to be done with them today. They can even cause Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, heart disease, of course, diabetes, and obesity. So I talked about this last time that these PUFAs, or polyunsaturated fats, are very unstable. So they get broken down, cause inflammation and oxidative stress throughout the body, and the body cannot use them. And because they can't use them, they just get stored in the fat cells. So that is the worst offender. Now, fat burning foods, yes, if your body can burn fat and you're in a good metabolic state, then you want to focus on butter, ghee, organic cold pressed olive oil, and the fats in that wild animal protein that we've talked about. Those are going to help you help keep you in a fat burning mode. Okay, carbohydrates. They've been demonized, right? Not true. Now, you've got some fat storing carbs, which are the processed foods, because you have all of those fake nutrients in them, and it's just going to get stored in those fat cells, and it's lowering ATP, lowering mitochondrial health. Now, with that, it's also causing something called LPS, or endotoxins, to get stirred up in the body. And these endotoxins create more fat cells in the body. So if your gut is not healed, if you've got leaky gut, which most of you do, you are creating an environment where your body just wants to store fat. So the processed foods, we've got to get rid of these processed foods. Now, the fat burning carbs, we've got vegetables that I've listed out in my accelerated food guide and on my website that don't contain things like sulfur, oxalates, histamine, or mold. And some of those healthy carbs that contain the sulfur and the oxalates are the broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, kale. And I have the whole list you can look at. But you can eat squashes, spaghetti squash, zucchinis that will help cleanse your detox pathways and increase your fat burning, fill you up with the good fiber, and help stabilize your blood sugar. Now, you can also incorporate fruits, which are easier to digest on the body, and they are not going to cause weight gain. Now, should you load in 1,000 calories of carbs after being on a low carb diet day one? No. Your body has to slowly get used to it and slowly incorporate it. As you incorporate the healthy carbs that I'm talking about, your metabolism will adjust and increase. Now, what is the goal to increase your fat burning? It is to increase that ATP and mitochondrial health. So I wanted to talk about the 3 supplements that are going to do that so that you can enhance your fat burning with the foods that we just talked about. And that's the iodine. Remember, iodine deficiency is the major contributor to mitochondrial failure. So you can have just 2 ATP per mitochondria, where with iodine, you have 36. That's 18 times. So just imagine your little cells increasing their energy and their strength, not just for burning fat, but also for your immune system when the colds and the flu season comes around, or your allergies, all of that stuff. This iodine is number 1. And without it, you're going to have more inflammation, histamines, and you're going to have a lowered immune system. And we've got to get rid of the stress. We've got to clean out our liver. We've got to get rid of all of the other stuff we've talked about, right? Okay, so the accelerated iodine is the only iodine that's feeding all 100 trillion cells in the body. And it's going to increase that ATP like we've talked about. And most of you are iodine deficient. It's also going to detox the cells of all the things that are lowering the ATP and causing fat storage. And then when you add in the accelerated keto, that's not only increasing your ATP, but it's suppressing your appetite because it's kicking you into ketosis, which is fat burning. You're increasing your fat oxidation. You're switching from being fueled on carbs to being fueled on fat. So then you're able to intermittent fast. As you intermittent fast, your gut is healing and that leaky gut goes away. The endotoxins go away, right? So it also helps with your liver, cleansing your liver. And that in your liver is where the thyroid hormones convert from the inactive to the active thyroid hormones, which is going to help your metabolism and fat oxidation, fat metabolism. Accelerated thyroid, like we talked about last time, our thyroids are our master endocrine gland. And if our thyroid's not working, I don't care what you eat, what you do, you will gain weight. Your thyroid is in control of your fat burning or fat storing. So that accelerated thyroid with the acceleridine iodine is going to help alleviate any thyroid issues. And most people have suboptimal thyroid. If you're on an antidepressant or anxiety drug, chances are you don't have depression. You just have hypothyroid. But the doctors don't test this. They don't give you a full panel. They just test your TSH. So if you're listening and you're on an antidepressant, I want you to go back to your lab draws and see what your doctor tested. And if he just tested TSH, you go back and say, I want a full thyroid panel and I need to get back on my accelerated thyroid and acceleridine iodine. Iodine deficiency is also the number one predictor for depression. So there you go. So with that, you've got those 3 supplements. And then in addition to that, you can add in the accelerated copper. Copper is essential for fat burning. It's that missing key. It's also the missing key to energy because anemia is caused by a lack of copper to open the door to get the iron in your body to where it needs to go. We all have plenty of iron. It's just in all the wrong places. And the copper is that key to unlock that door to give your cells the energy to also help with your fat burning. So those are just a few of my tips, but focus on that wild animal protein. Check out my accelerated food guide for a list and a spreadsheet of all the yeses and nos of foods that you can eat. And through my group coaching, I talk all about this in more detail. So you really get to understand why you need to do all of this. It's not so easy anymore. Life is different. Our food system's been hijacked, and we have to be a little more careful with what we're putting in our mouth.
So true. And, I love what you said about the eating a steak that what I thought of instantly is there's this restaurant in Texas where they have this huge steak. And if you eat it, it's free if you can finish it. And nobody really ever finishes it. And I thought about that. And then I thought about if that same thing was a brownie, I could tell you I could finish it.
Absolutely.
No matter how big it is.
Yep.
So if it was the whole state of Texas, I would eat my way all the way to Texas. But you're so right. It's like you eat a certain amount of meat and it's done. And, I was told years ago that there's certain things like when I was getting rid of diabetes, I was saying, man, I don't understand. I'm just not hungry. And my naturopath was like, that's because you're getting everything you need.
Yeah.
And that's the key right there. And that's what
key.
that's what you get with your supplements is along with your coaching and programming of what to eat, because then your body is getting what you need and you don't crave the things that are ruining your body.
Absolutely. That your brain is flipped and it then starts to work for you instead of against you.
And that's what we want for sure, because listen, it is true. It's so hard to know it out nowadays, no matter where you go. And you had mentioned once in the past about Europe and stuff like that. Listen, I've gone over to Europe and I read the boxes of some food compared to the boxes in America, the exact same product by the exact same company. They'll have 3 ingredients. We'll have like 50. They'll have like 6 grams of sugar. We'll have like 60 grams of sugar on the same exact thing. It's unreal.
And
So
that's not even including the toxins that are in our foods and not theirs that are not on the label.
exactly, 100%. Because that's another thing that bugs me too is people look at labels and they think they're safe. It's like I remember when it used to say on your labels MSG, and then they had all this thing about MSG. So instead of getting rid of it, now they call it natural flavoring.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? I remember also too, like everybody, there was a big push for drinking V8 juice. And I remember when I first started my program, I read the V8 juice and I'm like, oh my God, I might as well have a Hershey's candy bar because this thing is all sugar and not healthy at all. So that's where people like you are so important, because we go into these grocery stores and they're promoting stuff as healthy that really is not healthy. And it's promoting more sickness so that they can give you more unhealthy things and keep you sick. And thank God we have people like you. And I think anybody listening needs to go check out your website, check out your supplements, your newsletters, join your coaching. So, and not only that, most importantly too, check out your TV and radio show and podcast. So why don't you tell everybody how they can connect you, socials, the web, and check out everything you have.
Thank you, Dean. Everything is at sarabantahealth.com. You can find all of my articles, the links to my group coaching. You can email me your questions for a personalized protocol. My group coaching's on Telegram. It's free. There's no downside. I post on a daily basis. You get to ask your questions, listen to other people's questions that you might not know that you had as well. And join me on social media, Accelerated Health Products, and on all podcast outlets. I'm under Accelerated Health TV and radio show. And please share this information with your friends and family who definitely need the help as well.
Absolutely. Because every one of us walking right now needs your help, because some of us have sickness brewing in our body from these foods they're giving us, and we don't even know it yet. It's better if we can catch it now and change our habits and let our body run like a well-oiled machine without the crappy oil.
Yes, absolutely.
So thanks a lot for being with us once again. Thanks for all you do for people and helping people in a time that I think we need it most. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipe Man.
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipe Man on W4CY Radio.